Okay, good morning. Okay, this is your writing feedback um, for the clinical iceberg. Okay, so you don't need to put the task at the top of the page. You just need to put a title. So, clinical iceberg with no quotation marks. You should probably spell iceberg correctly too. Okay, and remember, you were supposed to describe what is a clinical iceberg. Okay, so you said in a sentence, what is meaning by clinical iceberg in the newsletter. Yeah, okay, so let's just see what you said here. Healthcare often use the term. Okay, healthcare is not a person or place, yeah? So it can't really use the term, okay? So it should be healthcare, people in healthcare or healthcare officials, okay? Use the term healthy and normality as synonyms. But WHO, okay, so you're writing to medical students, okay? So you don't need to define what the WHO is. If they don't know what the WHO is, there's a problem, okay? So you don't need to put that. Defines the term healthy as a state of not just absence of infirmity. Okay, so infirmity, I think you're using the wrong synonym here, yeah? Of a disease and the state of complete mental, physical, and social well-being. Okay, so that's fine. You're just defining that. Who also said that there is a range between illness, health, normality, and abnormality, and this is called the clinical iceberg. Actually, no, it's not. The range is not the clinical iceberg. The way that we're looking at it is the clinical iceberg, okay? So it's a little different. This yang, I can't say it, has two parts, visible part and invisible part. Okay, good. Invisible part has three groups of people. First group appeared to be normal, but has some behavior like smoking or some characteristics. Um, some characteristics. Okay, actually, the first group, remember, is the healthy people, right? The healthy, normal people. So you've missed a group here. Some behavior like smoking or characteristics like overweight. Some second group is a visible group of the iceberg. Okay, you were already on the visible part. I don't think okay, it's good that you're explaining the iceberg. That's excellent. Okay, nobody else has done that so far. But I think that you've sort of changed the meaning here a little bit. Yeah, remember, most people, the largest part of the iceberg is below the water that we can't see. And I think you've changed the meaning here. It should be, you should be explaining that the first three parts, you said here, the yang has two parts, visible part and invisible part. Okay, but the invisible part is actually the biggest part, right? The invisible part has three groups of people. So you haven't described these three groups. First group appears to be normal, but has some behaviors. Okay, actually that's the second group, so you missed the first group, like smoking and other characteristics. Second group is a visible part. Wait, so you're already moving on to the visible part, and you haven't explained the first three groups of the invisible part. Okay, who appear signs, but they have some precursor morbidity state. Okay. Again, I think you're changing the meaning here. Best example of people with thermia. The third group, small group of people who show no symptoms, but physicians on the examination show that they have signs of the disease, and this is called preclinical state or disease. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm really confused with your first, second, third here. Second part of the clinical iceberg is the visible part. Okay. But you said in the previous part that Okay. Oh, I see. The second group is an invisible part of the iceberg. Okay, but isn't the first part of the... I'm really confused here. Okay, the third group... Okay. Okay, I see what you said here now. Show no signs, but physicians... Okay, good. Okay, so you need to make it clear that this is still the invisible part, okay? Second part of the clinical iceberg is the visible part. It has two groups. The first one is group of people who have clear signs and symptoms of disease. And maybe you might want to say are in a morbid state. The final part of the iceberg is on the tip, and is a group of people who have advanced disease, and that means that they are in the process of dying and terminally ill. The clinical iceberg is just a range and physicians and most people just see the tip of it. Okay, good. So I think you're explaining generally the iceberg. I think you need to be a little bit more careful about talking about your parts. One way to do that would be to separate this big paragraph into two parts, the visible part and the invisible part, and talk about that in that regard. So explain that the invisible part has different parts or different levels, and also the one part you missed is that the biggest group is the part that we can't see. And but other than that, you did a pretty good job, okay? But you need to clean up some of your organization, okay? Good job.